Andrew, you had terrific win yesterday, but how mentally draining for everyone watching was it at various points?
Yeah, it's these test matches just keep giving, don't they? They top and turn, and you never know where the direction of the game's going. So, yeah, mentally draining on the players, on everyone involved, I think, and even the fans, I think, would have went through that as well. And to win it in that style with Travis and Marnus at the end there, that probably went against the whole trend of the game. One down for 78 to get home was an incredible achievement. They're difficult to win here, test matches, and the Delhi, on the back of Delhi in particular, we had 1 hour of chaos there, and it cost us that test match, and we played pretty good cricket across that game, and we come here and we doubled down on what we set out to achieve at the start of the tour, and we were rewarded. And I think the validation of the players is that the plans and the method and the way that we go about it can work, and that was proven over the last few days.
Was that the mentality after Delhi, just to back in yourself, because like you had a winning position there really, and just to back up what you did there? And
yeah, it was. We had an hour in this test match as well where we lost 6 for 11, and that could have easily thrown the game back into India's control. But yeah, the way that we've gone about it the whole tour is the way that we wanted to go about it. And at times we've probably chosen the wrong moment to press, and that's cost us at certain times. So, but the most important thing on the back of Delhi was to freshen up really. We had a couple of days off, allowed the players some space, and then we come back into work and got the prep right for this test match.
You talked about double downing on plans, and I know that was big when you went to Pakistan last year, different conditions. How hard practically is that for certain guys who failed in both tests coming into it? What are the kind of some practical examples of telling people that they actually need to stick to what they came into the tour with?
I think Smudge explained a little bit around that to the team. I don't know whether he did it publicly as well, but he was happy with the way that he got out. You've got to be happy with the way that you fail at times. And not going away from your plan. So, yeah, it's difficult, because if you're not getting the reward in runs or wickets or the validation through wins, it's very difficult to prove it. But I was impressed by the way they went about in this test match.
In the last 12 months, you've now had wins in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and India. For the occasional bad day that there's been in amongst that, does that give you confidence that the things you put in place to play with confidence are now bearing fruit?
Yeah, and it's a longer journey than just this year. I mean, Usman Khawaja's been to the subcontinent multiple times. Steve Smith's been here multiple times as well. So you can capture it in the last 12 months, but it's really a journey of a cricketer's career that allows them to play a certain way. And we saw Usman was incredible in that first innings. To be able to score runs on that type of wicket, the way that he did in a calm, methodical way, was very impressive and set up the game. And we had a little bit of luck as well. Marnus getting bowled off a no ball, how critical was that at that point in time? That allowed a partnership to flourish. We took our opportunities in this test match as well. Usman's, the flying Khawaja catch in mid-wicket there, and then Smudge winding back the clock with that one at leg slip. If you compare that to the Delhi game where we dropped one at first slip, which was Smudge, and then we dropped one at leg slip in Matthew Renshaw, and they were critical. So you've got to take your opportunities over here, and you've almost got to be near perfect against India and India. And I think that this game, besides that 6 for 11, I think it was near perfection from the team.
Were the guys able to check in with Pat last night?
Yeah, there was exchanges going there. So he's obviously he's dealing with what he's dealing with at home, but he's still invested in this group. But our thoughts are with him and his family in this difficult time.
Travis Head's had an interesting journey, hasn't he? And I said, God forbid that David Warner ever goes away, but you've got another opener for Asia, haven't you?
Yeah.
Considering the fact that few people had, including you guys, obviously had faith in how he would go in Asia.
Yeah, I think opening the batting in Asia is a position that he'll enjoy over time. I'm not sure when we're next here, but he looks at home at the top of the order. I think those types of aggressive players, that when they walk out there at naught for naught, they get to sort of dictate the course of the game. And I thought the maturity for him after losing Usman early, I think 13 runs off 10 overs, just to absorb that. And then wait for the bowlers to err, and when they erred, he was had the intent to score.
Is it only Asia? Do you think he could open in Australia?
Well, we've got one more test match here. We'll see where that lands in terms of future. But I see him as an incredible middle order player as well. He can shift the momentum of a game in the middle order, and I don't think we want to take that away from this team. I think he can get on the back of others' work at the top of the order in different conditions.
Where do you sit on this pitch that we've had this weekend? It's obviously been rated poor by the ICC. Smudge said he quite liked the challenge at times. Where do you think the balance lies? And is there a little bit, is it becoming a little bit skewed, some home conditions, particularly over here?
Yeah, I mean, our job's to play on the pitch. So whatever they roll up, our job is to problem solve what's in front of us. So that's for others to work through. I mean, the ICC are, they give every pitch a rating, and they gave this one poor. So, we don't talk when they give it a good rating. So it's up to them how they want to navigate through that. So the conditions were extreme. I think they've been extreme for all 3 Test matches.
Do you think it brings you kind of into the game more, like it did in Pune, for example, in 2017 when Steve got those wickets? Do you think it kind of narrows the gap when it becomes a bit more of a lottery? Yeah,
I think you can see that in the fact that all 3 games have been won against the toss. Teams batting first have lost, and that's rare. And it's usually pretty hard to win against the toss. But here we've seen 3 matches go that way. So I think the more extreme the conditions, the less the toss is relevant. That's probably how I sum it up.
How do you, I suppose, weigh up the fact that the team's best performance has come in the 3rd Test, having been here, or certainly in the region for about a month, and I suppose the prospect that you could have another good performance in the last Test, but also that you weren't quite able to bring your best for the start of the series, and obviously the trophy was out of contention by the time you started playing your best cricket?
Well, I think I'll take you back to Delhi, and I'd probably challenge you in the fact that we didn't play well there. I think we had an hour where we didn't execute the way that we wanted to, and we're in control of that game. So I would say that the first Test, we didn't bring our best to the first Test match, but I thought Delhi were in control of that game, and we lost that game within an hour. And as I said, we had an hour in this game where we lost 6 for 11, and it could have been a similar story, but the group's got great resolve, great character, and we're talking about the number 1 cricket team in the world here as well. So they were able to bounce back from that Delhi hour.
And you're not, I mean, you've made it fairly clear over time that you're not necessarily going to be coach of this team for much longer than about a 4-year period. So next to a year is beyond that. But do you see in Matt, Todd, Arnis, Travis, guys like that there are, you can't win this series, but there are some building blocks to potentially go on better next time?
Yeah, and speaking about it before, like Usman Khawaja's performances here are probably tied back to his first experience in the subcontinent. Steve Smith as well, I think he got the nod was that in the homework gate? I think he got the opportunity there. So everyone's journey starts at some point in time in the subcontinent. I think there's a core of players that will come back here more experienced and in theory better equipped for the challenges. Will we see the same conditions? And this is the hard thing when we're talking about a series here where we've had certain conditions that probably aren't relatable to any other subcontinent tours over time. So it's always a different challenge when you do arrive here.
Can I just sort of follow up on that, ask a bit more about Todd and how he's gone? I mean, great control in this Test match, as I've been about 3 times in 4 innings or something. Just how impressive for a guy who came in with such little experience has he been on this tour?
It's just a mature young spinner, which is, he's surprised all of us really. When he comes on the tour, we thought he was a realistic chance of playing. There's no doubt about that. We felt like some of the surfaces were going to offer up, the 3-spin conversation, and we've had 3 spinners in the last 2 Test matches. But his ability to be accurate, to play a role as well. Like we always talk about what a good day is, and his ability to control the scoreboard from one end in this Test match allowed Nathan Lyon and Matt Kuhneman to do what they did. So he's impressive, and when it's on his terms, like we saw in Nagpur, he's able to deliver wickets as well for the team. So he's very versatile, but one word to describe him is mature for a young spinner.
In a similar vein, Matt Kuhneman, I mean, he wasn't on the tour to start with. Can you kind of go back to when you actually thought he might be involved in this series, and is he also someone you've been surprised by?
He was in Sri Lanka, so he went on the A series there, and he stuck around and worked with the team in Sri Lanka. So he's been in the conversations for a while, and for him to deliver what he delivered on that first morning was incredible. Just great accuracy, and probably the one part that hasn't been spoken about enough is Alex Carey's keeping. I think that on day one that ball to Sharma, that high take, that stumping. Now, if he doesn't execute that, Sharma gets a look at the wicket, he plays differently and the game rolls in a different direction. So I think sometimes we're quick to criticise wicketkeepers, but in this instance I thought that day one was an absolute clinic and gave us control of the game. And we saw Barrett miss a couple of half chances or get his leg in the way of balls that could have went to first slip. So I thought that was a key moment in the game, was his keeping.
Andrew, going back to that 6 for 11 collapse, the word that gets used a lot in India is not to panic. So what do you think happened this time after the 6 for 11? Like, what was the conversation in the dressing room where they thought that rather than kind of slip into that negative mindset, they went out there and just stuck to what they wanted to do?
I think playing what's in front of you. Like, you can, if you chase your failures, then you probably spin around in circles too often. Like, so on the back of Delhi, it was, okay, how clear are we going to be in what we need to do next? Is this team good enough? Yes. What do we need to do next? And that's the conversation we had at that point in time. We'd lost 6 for 11. There's nothing we can do about that. We go out there and Nathan Lyon, as the experienced spinner, delivers one of his best performances. So it always takes an individual to do something special to get the team back on track. There's no doubt about that. But you've got to focus on what's in front of you.
And sorry if this has been asked before. I was busy washing my hair.
Thanks for turning up.
Hair wash day. Just about slowing the pace of the game down. Stephen Smith spoke a lot about that. And different batters seem to do it differently. Manas yesterday obviously got under Ashwin's skin. Travis Head said he's not someone who likes to wait, he wants to get into the game. So from that perspective, do you think you nailed it in terms of just playing it at your tempo?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the commitment in the preparation was there as well. We did feel as though the game sped up on us too quickly. India, to our surprise yesterday, slowed things down as well. So they allowed us to probably play at our pace as well. So I think Ashwin was slowing things down, which I think helped us. There's no doubt about that. Compared to Delhi, where things sped up on us and Jadeja was rushing and everything happened in a hurry. So yeah, I think that any time if you can play it at your pace, then you're better positioned to execute.
One thing that has been a constant message from the team over the series is finding ways to put India under pressure, whether it be in sessions, in moments, but obviously overall in terms of the series scenario and winning matches. Do you think winning that match on that surface has put some pressure on in regard to no one quite knowing what you're going to get in Ahmedabad? The fact that you've actually you've put a winning performance on.
Yeah, I don't think we know what we're going to get in Ahmedabad. I don't think anyone does. It's totally out of our control. But yeah, we've definitely put some pressure in that change room. We felt as though we did that for most of the time in Delhi as well. And this time to execute that and get across the line, because as I said, you've got to be near perfect against India in India to put them away. And I think it was a great win, and that's what we did. So full credit to the guys. Great reward for a group that over the past couple of weeks have had their challenges.
And just one slightly different. Obviously, there's been a bit of talk during that game about the whole idea that you can go up for a stumping, but then obviously they check the edge first. Can you just talk through that and whether that's that's a discussion of this is what the DRS system is? So you just appeal for anything. Obviously, an appeal isn't for one particular dismissal; it's for anything the umpires to decide.
I think the wicketkeepers now, if they think they've got an edge, they still take the stumps. So that's just habit. So and then obviously they appeal, and then if the square leg umpire goes upstairs, you go through that DRS process. If they don't, then you've got a decision to make whether you use one of your DRS reviews. So I think it's just habit from the wicketkeeper to go up for the stumping as well as the call behind. So.
You're not expecting Pat back for Ahmedabad? Is that where we stand at the moment on that, or is there no decision yet?
Oh, we're in constant contact with him daily. So at the moment he's not here, and the test match is a few days away. So. We'll discuss with Pat on a daily basis.
Sorry, one final one from me, Andrew. You spoke about the collapse, but just the first hour of play on day 2 where Cam Green and Peter Hanscom survived that. How important was that, even though maybe the game didn't move as quickly as some expected it to? Even from a personal experience level for Cam Green, but even for you guys, the pressure being soaked by those two?
Yeah, I think it was a 40-run partnership, but in the context of the game, it was huge. That next morning, things tend to happen in the morning here. I don't know whether they happen all the time, to be perfectly honest, but that first hour was really, really important. We didn't quite nail the second hour of that session, but to absorb what India had thrown at us in that period of time, I think is a great learning curve for Cam, but also Pete Hanscom as well. I think for him to continue to deliver what he's delivering on this tour against spin has been very impressive. It was a big hour, but every hour in these games has been big.
How good a game captaincy was that from Steve in terms of how he manoeuvred things, moved the chess pieces on the board as people have written? Just how good was that, given the fine margins that game probably rested on?
Yeah, I think the last two games, I think we've been really good with our moves, bringing bowls on at the right time. Captaining in three spinners is a totally different scenario for most Australian captains. So I think, second test and third test, I think we've done exactly what we need to do with the ball, with the bowling changes, with the field positioning. We've just let ourselves down with the bat at certain times.